I'm sorry they're frustrated, but it's something that we believe in as an organization. It's going to make us better. We believe that it sets us up to win not only now but also in the future. And when we win, I believe the frustration will go away.
Dallas, I have news for you. The bad man is gone. One of them, at least. Y'all still got Jerry Jones. Nico had a perfect situation, and he royally overthought himself into a corner. Going beyond that, because so many people have talked about Nico Harrison again and again and again and again, and now the saga's over, and we all knew this was how it was going to end. We'll see where the Mavericks go from here, but in a last send-off to Nico, because this may be the last time we talk about him in the NBA, I want to give Nico the opportunity to be compared against some of the greats, some of the historic players in sports history. So this is a little segment I like to call Nico versus the world. Now, I'm going to give to you some different situations because what I have is a list of the worst trades in sports history. And I want you to tell me, was the Luka trade better or worse than these trades? Okay, so we're just going to fire them off.
Okay.
I'm going to give them to you.
Starting
off with this one. Let's keep it in the NBA. Paul George to the Los Angeles Clippers for Shai Gilgeous-Alexander and picks, one of which eventually turned into Jalen Williams. Was this trade better or worse than the Luka Doncic trade?
The Luka trade is worse.
You think?
Yes, because at least it made sense that Kawhi Leonard was just coming off of a championship. In order to get him, you have to get Paul George, who was also coming off of an MVP season. And yeah, you're trading away your future, but you don't know what's going to happen. You do this if you're the Clippers. You've never made it to the conference finals, which, by the way, in this era, they ended up making the conference finals eventually. Now, how good of an accomplishment is that? Probably not much, but the ideology was there. It just didn't work out. I still think it was a bad trade, but the Luka trade, there was no reason to do it.
And let's be fair to the Clippers. They made the conference finals because of Paul George. Kawhi Leonard was hurt at some point during that playoff run, and Paul George carried them to that conference finals.
They beat the number 1 seed Utah Jazz.
They did, yeah.
Reigning defensive player of the year, Rudy Gobert. They beat them to make the conference finals. They took them to 6 without Kawhi Leonard. It's just unfortunate that Suns team was that good. Even they didn't end up winning it, but yeah.
Yeah. All right. Now, we're going to shift our attention to the NFL. We're going to keep it in Dallas, though. Okay. Micah Parsons to the Packers for Kenny Clark, and a 2026 first and a 2027 first. Was this a better or worse trade than the Luka Doncic trade?
There aren't very many football trades that can be worse than the Luka trade because Luka Doncic is a whole team by himself. As good as Micah Parsons is amazing. But the writing was kind of on the wall that he was going to be traded, so they had to get rid of him. They at least got what you said, a first-round pick back, and is it bad? Yeah, but Micah Parsons is great in his role. He can't win games by himself. That's not how football works. Luka Doncic can win you 50 games by himself. He is legitimately generational. Luka trade by far. Way worse.
Well, I'm glad you said that because we're going to stick on football for a second. Okay. I'm glad you think that there are no NFL trades that can be as bad as that trade. Russell Wilson to the Broncos for a Russell Wilson and a 2022 fourth round pick to the Broncos for Drew Lock, Noah Fant, Shelby Harris, a 2022 first, a 2022 second, a 2022 fifth, a 2023 first, and a 2023 second. Now, do you want to hear Russell Wilson's stats with the Broncos? Or are you familiar?
I know they were terrible. I know they were bad. And that is a lot of picks. Remind me, how many first and how many second round picks again?
So it was 2 first round picks, 2 second round picks, and a 5th round pick. For reference, Sauce Gardner got traded for 2 firsts straight up this past. Well, 2 firsts and a wide receiver.
Yeah.
And he's a top 3 corner in the NFL.
And he is, yeah. I saw Jets fans crying about it, which doesn't make sense because you're terrible. I'm still going to give it to Luke. I think until you prove me wrong, Luka Doncic was the worst trade in sports history.
Fair enough. Okay. Well, we're going to start ramping it up then.
Even though Russell Wilson was bad.
Russell Wilson was bad,
and at least Anthony Davis doesn't play. Okay, yeah,
we're gonna keep firing these off. I'm curious if there's any that you're gonna think are worse, and we're gonna switch to the NBA here for a second. And we're gonna go to one that a lot of people still look at to this day as a horrible trade for a team that we mentioned earlier. James Harden, Cole Ulrich, Daquan Cook, and Lazar Hayward to the Rockets for Kevin Martin, Jeremy Lamb, a 2013 first and a 2013 second and a 2014 first. Was this a worse or better trade than the Luka Doncic trade?
The Luka one was so much worse because Harden kind of had to leave. They couldn't pay. I don't know. Like, details about that era have come out with like people like KD himself telling Harden, "You need to get out of here. You need your own team." Mm-hmm. The writing was on the wall. They didn't want to pay him. I guess you could say that they should have just paid him. Mm-hmm. And for that reason, it could be similar. But at least you got some picks back.
Yeah.
Luka didn't get you any picks.
No.
I know you got Anthony Davis. You didn't get any picks for Luka Doncic.
Kind of crazy. Yeah.
Your Luka trade is still worse.
Deshaun Watson and a 2024 sixth round pick to the Cleveland Browns for a 2022 first, 2022 fourth, 2023 first, 2023 third, 2024 first, and 2024 fourth.
Was this after the allegations came out?
Yes.
Why did they give up so much for it?
Now, Deshaun Watson.
How many games did he play after?
I'll tell you. I'm looking up his stats right now, going to Trusty Pro Football Reference to give you the information on it. So, in his time with the Cleveland Browns, Deshaun Watson has played a total of 19 games over 4 seasons since they traded for him. He's out the entirety of this year with an Achilles tear. He has thrown for a little over 3,300 yards. He has thrown 19 touchdowns to 12 interceptions, and his completion percentage is very much below league average. I think it's about 61%. Yeah, 60 and a half.
See, this is tough because Watson not only was bad, but he was a bad player. He was a bad player, but he's a bad person.
Mm-hmm. And on top of that, they gave him the most guaranteed money in NFL history.
They did do that.
It was what, $250 million fully guaranteed?
I don't want to say anything was as. I think I might say this is worse.
This is worse than the Luka trade.
I think
All right, we found one.
Okay, we found one.
Okay.
Because we haven't seen the Luka trade. Okay, like it's already aged terribly, but it has not aged that terribly. Like I actually don't think unless AD literally tore his Achilles right now and was out for the rest of his career, it couldn't have aged that bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's worse.
Okay. All right.
Then it's the Browns. You gotta expect them to do it, but I can't hold that against them.
All right, Corbett. We have 2 more left.
Okay.
Now one's going to depend on your knowledge of history. The other one I'm going to give you some context for.
Okay.
This one, many people wouldn't put in the same category, but as a Raiders fan, I am fully aware of just how bad this trade was. And I remembered something about this trade, and I went and found it. So, Randy Moss was traded from the Oakland Raiders in 2007 to the New England Patriots. Raiders and Moss were ready to part ways. It was kind of a mutual, we're done, right? The Raiders traded Moss for a 4th-round pick, just a 4th-round pick, to the Patriots. Now, if I go and look at Randy Moss's stats, I'm pretty sure he broke. It may not have been that year, but I'm pretty sure with the Patriots, he did break. Yes. In the year that they traded him to the Patriots, he had 1,500 receiving yards, 98 receptions, and 23 touchdowns.
In one season.
The next season, he had 1,000 yards and 11 touchdowns and 69 receptions. And the season after that, he had 83 receptions for 1,300 yards and 13 touchdowns. So all in all, he had about 3,800 yards and 47 touchdowns with the Patriots in 3 years.
47 touchdowns? Mm-hmm. That's like a touchdown a game.
Now, this on its own is not horrible. Here's the bad part. The Raiders were offered a trade. The Raiders were offered a trade for Randy Moss. Can you guess which Green Bay Packers quarterback, who was a backup at the time, the Packers were willingly ready to give up for Randy Moss?
Rodgers?
Aaron Rodgers. The Raiders were offered Aaron Rodgers for Randy Moss and said, no, we want to stick with our young first-round pick, Jamarcus Russell, instead. So we're going to trade Randy Moss for a 4th-round pick. And that is the story of the Raiders. Now, is this a better or worse trade than the Luka Doncic trade? given that context.
You can't use a hypothetical as a reason to say the trade wasn't good. I'm gonna get Luka trade is worse.
All right, Luka trade is worse. Now we move on.
And even you say if Randy Moss leaving was writing on the wall, then that's not as bad.
No. Now, Corby, this is widely considered to be the worst trade in sports history. We'll have to see how the Luka Doncic trade plays out, but this one, for the impact on the franchise, the organization, the teams, the players, the fans, all of it, this has been considered for a long time to be the worst trade in sports history. In 1920, Babe Ruth was traded to the New York Yankees, the New York Yankees from the Boston Red Sox for cash to help finance a theater play. Babe Ruth was 24 years old at the time. He hit 700 home runs, won a lot of World Series, pitched, hit, basically was the greatest baseball player of all time until Shohei Ohtani showed up, right? By a lot of people's measure. Boston, which had at that point won 5 of the first 16 World Series ever played, didn't make the playoffs again for the next 26 years. The Yankees, who had never been in the postseason up until that point, appeared in 29 of the next 45 World Series. Not playoffs, World Series, right? Ruth played 15 years in New York. There it is. He won 4 titles, became the all-time home run leader. And the Red Sox, while the Yankees won 27 championships, would need 86 years to win their next championship.
Wow.
This was known as the Curse of the Bambino.
Curse of the Bambino.
Is this a better or worse trade than the Luka?
This might change my opinion. Was Babe Ruth doing things before he was traded for cash, or like was he just?
I'm pretty sure he won an MVP in Boston. Now I'd have to check his stats, but I'm pretty sure he was still solid in Boston. I need to actually talk into the microphone if I'm going to speak. He actually did. So he did not win an MVP in Boston. His stats in Boston, he had a really good season when they traded him, though. He hit 29 home runs, had 113 RBIs, which was pretty much unheard of for the time.
So that was right before they traded him.
Right before they traded him. Then after they traded him, he hit 54 home runs, 59 home runs, 35, 41, 46, 25, 47, 60, 54, 46, 49, 46, 41, 34, 22.
Yeah, when it comes to a top 5 guy to ever, undebatably, if not higher, top 5 guy to play the sport, traded for cash, you got to go him. I wonder how that happened. There must have been some sort of trickery. There was no
20s,
internet.
man. It was the 20s, man. They just traded whoever for whoever sometimes.
You could have just lied. Be like, oh yeah, Babe Ruth. You could trade him. You could trade him if you want him to us. I heard he has salmonella or like something crazy.
You know what was crazy too? He traded him for $100,000, right? Just basically he sold his contract, and then he took out a loan from the Yankees owner. That was what Babe Ruth was traded for, a loan from the Yankees owner that he had to pay back, right?
That's insane.
Crazy stuff, man. Anyway, Nico Harrison, you will go down in the books as one of the general managers of all time.